Welcome to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. I'm Sharon Reed. Doc has the day off. He's earned that. And guess who's here? Jordan Uhl. We adore you. I actually, when I'm on with you, seek your guidance on things because, it's easy to change my mind on some things. And then sometimes if I get angry enough, I go off the rails. I don't even know what I'm saying, but it's just like rapid fire, bam, 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 bam. And so you are a steadying force, the voice of reason. And again, I look to you. So thank you for making yourself
Oh,
available.
well, it's a lot of pressure. So
Don't
I will
mean
do
for
my
it to
best, but
be.
thank you.
But yeah, you'll carry the show. What do you say we get started? Because there's a lot of stories, a lot of ground to cover, and I'm anxious to hear your commentary on all of it. As is our wonderful TYT audience. Can I just say how happy we are that you're always there? This is a family, okay? You're not viewers. You're not just people in a crowd. We're all in this together. That's why I love it. And we got to unpack this first story, if you will. Cop fatally shoots his own partner after she broke up with him. You see, a little twist there. And now there's an update on the case. Here's what we've learned. Crystal Rivera was fatally wounded in the line of duty by her partner. Her family's now suing the department and her partner for her resulting death. The family of Chicago police officer Crystal Rivera, who was fatally shot in the line of duty this year by her partner, says that shooting came after she broke off a romantic relationship with him. This comes as part of a 9-count wrongful death lawsuit filed by Rivera's family, who alleged that her partner, Officer Carlos A. Baker, failed to render aid and attempted to cover the shooting up after he fired a single shot that struck her during a foot pursuit in Chatham on June 5th. And there you see the partner. He's pictured here. Now, Antonio Romanucci is an attorney for the Rivera family. And here's what Mr. Romanucci has to say. Rivera and Baker became involved in an on again, off again relationship, romantic one dating back to 2023, was known to other CPD employees. Rivera eventually broke that relationship off this year after learning Baker was involved with another woman. Attorney said Thursday, threatened to also inform the other woman of their relationship. Now, attorney Mara White said Rivera expressed concerns about Baker's adverse reaction to the breakup and his continued attempts to contact her outside of work. Less than 48 hours before she was shot, Baker showed up at Rivera's home uninvited after she told him not to come, White said. Two men, 27-year-old Jalen Arnold, 25-year-old Adrian Rucker, have also been charged in connection with the incident that led to Rivera's death. According to Cook County prosecutors, Rivera and her partner observed Arnold walking with an unusually but large bulge under his jacket, allegedly consistent with a drum magazine. When he looked at the officers, Arnold took off running, followed by police, prosecutors said. Arnold fled into a nearby apartment building where he was buzzed in by Rucker. The officers made it inside seconds later, where Rivera's partner allegedly saw Rucker standing behind a couch pointing a firearm at him. Prosecutors said Rivera's partner then accidentally discharged his firearm, striking and killing her. Rivera's family and their attorneys have previously disputed the CPD's narrative of the shooting, saying during a July press conference that it does not yet pass the smell test. They're not buying it. They want more. At the time, the family called for a separate investigation into the shooting led by Illinois State Police. They sought to pressure Chicago police officials to publish the body and dash cam footage from the fatal shooting. Romanucci on Thursday claimed Baker never rendered any substantive aid to Rivera, did not call for an ambulance after the shooting, that it was Rivera herself who called in the shooting. He also alleged the CPD knew Baker was reckless and unfit for duty following previous reprimands and off-duty incidents. And let's get to those other reprimands, shall we? Rivera family has argued this. Baker shouldn't have even been with CPD at all. As the Chicago Sun-Times and the Illinois Answers Project reported, he racked up 3 suspensions and 2 reprimands since becoming an officer in 2021. That's not that long ago. And look, already he had 3 suspensions. Only the best people, best and brightest, only the finest. Wow. That incident included during Baker's time as a probationary officer, in which he allegedly brandished a firearm at a woman whom he'd met online while she was on a date with another man. Sounds real stable. Sounds like the kind of guy you want to be on the force with. I'd love to have him as my partner. Not. That's according to the Sun-Times and the Illinois Answers Project. Baker was eventually relieved of his police powers in August, following a separate incident in which he allegedly struck another female officer during an incident outside a Wicker Park bar. Just another woman, another woman, another woman. There'll always be another woman. That officer has since filed a police report and claims she was being treated for a split lip. Sometimes the Illinois Answers Project reported at the time. CBS News also reported Baker called a neighboring business and identified himself as a police officer investigating that incident while seeking access to their surveillance footage. Okay, this is creepy. I'd like to start with, Jordan, things that I think are irrefutable. This guy has issues. I think that's irrefutable. There are incidents that led up to the death of Ms. Rivera, the partner, that could have, and I believe should have, stopped him in his tracks and made it so that perhaps he would have never even been on that scene, never even been there. We'll never know. But I think it's irrefutable that the incidents that have been chronicled by the Sun-Times and Illinois Answers Project say, not sure if he was meant to be on the force, holding a gun and power over people. Hell of a circumstances here. The family of the other cop, the dead police officer, does not trust the very force she was serving on to conduct this investigation. Another female officer has her own issues with what may have gone down. What say you about what we do know and what we can glean from it?
Well, you're seeing a pattern here that proves this person had no worthiness or deservedness or entitlement to his position. And despite repeated suspensions, a documented history of violence against women, potential partners, or past partners, they still allowed him to keep his job. Why is it that police departments around the country continue to see bad behavior and think, yeah, let's just keep this person? They're not entitled to a job as a cop. What is it about this job specifically where they will bend over backwards to excuse, justify, turn a blind eye to bad or violent behavior just to keep them in their job? If someone did that at an accounting firm, even one of those things, they justifiably be fired. But for some reason, you can do these things repeatedly and ultimately allegedly take someone's life. And it's okay, well, it's his job. He has to keep it. Why? Why is it that this is the only industry in this country where you can continue to do this stuff, be violent towards strangers, towards past loved ones, past relationships, people you are supposed to be protecting and serving, and you have to keep your job? I will never understand this. It's absolutely shameful.
You won't understand it because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any damn sense. No sense at all. Why are his presumably due process rights and the union protecting him, and if they are, but it's usually the way it goes. Why are his rights more important than everybody else's when he's the one with the gun and a badge and the ability to get people to capitulate? He has that ability. Relieved of charges. Where does it say accused of murder? And I'm not suggesting that that would be the appropriate charge, but I'm just saying that if he were a civilian, do you honestly believe that it would go down like this? Do you honestly believe that it would be, well, nothing to see here. Charge the two bad guys who ran away. This guy is just, it is what it is. So we're not going to dismiss the fact that he didn't bother to call for an ambulance. He didn't call in the shooting. He didn't render aid. I haven't seen any attorney. I haven't seen any documentation on his side saying, oh, wait. He tried. He gave her mouth-to-mouth CPR. He desperately tried to save her life. He was heartbroken. I don't see anybody pushing back on that. I only see the facts that the CPD, who the victim's family does not trust, put out, and even those are bizarro world. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I think that's a totally fair point, right? We're talking about somebody and other officers who saw one of their own colleagues die. One of their colleagues is dead here, and they're saying, "Well, okay, whatever. We have to protect the guy who allegedly did it."
Yeah.
What? If you go back to like an office setting, if you threw a stapler at someone's head, you're out. The rest of your colleagues aren't going to be like, well, the person who got hit in the head with a stapler called HR. No, like what are we doing here?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Like, it's not only that they're like justifying it and defending it, they're turning a blind eye to one of their other colleagues. It's not just that bad behavior is accepted, it's protected here.
And it seems like it's protect blue over everything, the institution. I mean, surely there were fellow cops who loved her, right? Supported her, and probably didn't like him, knew she's reckless, the family lawsuit says. Protect blue over everything if you're a cop. Now, if you're in nearby Michigan, can you believe it? We won't protect you, even if you're the coach of Big Blue, when you do things that are reprehensible. What does reprehensible mean? I mean, there's a wide range, but I chose to use the word. I'm going to use the word. You use a different word, but that's the word I'm going to use, reprehensible. That's the allegation. And we'll get to, was it reprehensible with some other people? I don't know, of a different hue. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, let me give you the details. Michigan football coach fired after having an affair with a staffer? Question mark. Because we're still unpacking this. There he is. And might I just say something that's unfair off the top, and it's my observation as we look at this picture. Swears he's cute, swears he's doing something, swears everybody wants him. I know the type. Is that fair? No. Have I ever met him? No. But I'm telling you, looking at the picture, I know the type. Now, I'll give you the details of what we actually do know, not my opinion. Michigan is again searching for a new head coach. Sherrone Moore served as the offensive coordinator for the school's 2023 national championship team before being named the head coach for 2 seasons, was fired Wednesday, December 10th. His dismissal, first reported by ESPN's Adam Schefter. He seems to always get the information. If I were in the sports world, I wouldn't even pick up the phone for him because it's not going to be good news. He always gets the information. He is a male Karen investigative sports reporter, if you will. He's very good at it. I think he's led the pack. He's really, pioneered that arm of investigative reporting in the sports world. If he calls, I don't know why you pick up. It's not good news. Head football coach Sherrone Moore terminated with cause effective immediately. Michigan's athletic director Wade Manuel said in a statement, following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. His conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy, and maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. There's more about Moore's alleged conduct. The misconduct didn't surprise one agent who explained they were more intrigued by the timing of his termination since it came after the early signing period and with most of the coaching carousel already settled. We'd heard about it a while ago, one agent told the outlet. Just didn't think it was actually going to happen since we're all the way through the cycle now. This was the worst kept secret, one source said, adding that rumors of Moore's alleged misconduct with the staffer had been floating around for some time. Everybody in the program has known this the last 2 seasons, the booster told CBS. New York Post helping the Grio too in the reporting. 39-year-old's tenure at the helm was marred by scandal before his firing. He was suspended twice this season in the aftermath of an advanced scouting scheme brought on by a former assistant that resulted in a $20 million penalty for the school. Now I'm beginning to ask, what was he really fired for? They don't appreciate the money. That's a lot of money. That's a big penalty. He was set to serve a one-game suspension during the 2026 season and had previously been suspended for the 2023 season opener due to recruiting violation. When the hell did he get to coach? I mean, these are a lot of infraction. Was he on the sideline? It's just a lot. It's a lot. And I would think you'd be on the straight and narrow. Listen, these are allegations. I can't say if it's true or not. I can just tell you, I know people like this. With Moore being fired for cause, the school will not have to pay the remaining amount of his 5-year contract, which amounted to nearly $12.3 million. And as I was reading that statement, it reminded me of the show In Living Color and Homie the Clown. You remember Homie the Clown? If not, Google it. This is when Homie the Clown would take that bag of, I don't know if they were rocks or beans in there, and hit you over the head with it because you're so stupid. You're not even going to get your payout money. And they always get the payout money, right? Ask Nick Saban and all these other guys. They get tons of money, do whatever they want, and then they get the payout. But not you, Coach Moore. You're not even going to get the money. Wow. In a bizarre twist, he would be arrested shortly after the firing. Now you're incarcerated? According to court documents released December 12th, Moore faces criminal allegations of felony third-degree home invasion, misdemeanor stalking, domestic relationship, and misdemeanor breaking and entering. Wow. Bond had not been set in the criminal case against Moore. There was an arraignment Friday. In it, the prosecutor alleged that after breaking into the victim's home, Moore went to a kitchen drawer and grabbed butter knives and scissors. He allegedly threatened suicide to the victim, saying, "I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to make you watch, and my blood is on your hands." This is where things actually get serious. The firing's bad. The allegations are harsh. The money, not good. But now you're suicidal and arrested, and this is where things really get sad. 911 dispatcher who appears to reference the alleged assault involving former Michigan football coach Sherrone Moore said the caller reported that a man had been stalking her for months. In the recording obtained by People magazine, 911 dispatcher says a subject called claiming that a male was at the location in the house attacking her, that the caller alleged the male had been stalking her for months. University of Michigan athletic director Ward Manuel informed of former coach Moore's mental health issues on Sunday, just days before Moore was fired. Source familiar with the situation told CBS News Detroit's Rachel Hopmeyer. According to the source, who is within the program, prominent donors told Manuel about Moore having mental health issues. Manuel fired Moore in a one-on-one conversation without human resources or security present before holding a team and staff meeting in Schembechler Hall, according to the source. Unclear if Moore's mental state contributed to the firing. It did. Now, I don't have the ability to diagnose him, but if any of this is true, he's got mental health issues. Again, that could be a wide range. We all potentially throughout our lives have periods of this kind of stress, but you did this, and people are saying that you said some things that would lead us to believe that you have some mental health issues and a crisis is going on. I want to start backwards, Jordan. And it's that last bit of information. Fired Moore in a one-on-one conversation without human resources. I don't know why that popped into my head, given all the seriousness and the true desperate information we've relayed about the former coach of the University of Michigan football. But the reason it popped in my head just like that, you know how I am sometimes, is because he may get his money after all. Something about due process, but there's a whole investigation. We'll see what it says. You react to this. It's a hell of a thing when Michigan's one of the original. I mean, they make 30 for 30s about it. and movies, starring, I don't know, people like Matt Damon and people like that in it, about programs like this. It is a huge get a tattoo on your arm, bleed blue type of program. And yet they didn't care about the timing, early signing period over, but where are we going to get a good coach? They got rid of him, perhaps too late even, but they did do it. What do you make of these circumstances?
Well, I want to put on my unbiased hat here. Nothing but the worst for that school, for that program. It is a program of, by, and for cheaters. The pattern of cover-ups at Michigan goes back years. This isn't the first sports program in recent years to fire a coach due to scandal. The last Michigan football coach left to avoid repercussions for a sign-stealing cheating scandal that involved an assistant coach physically attending and standing on the sidelines of other teams' games to scout and buying tickets for friends and family to steal signs in advance of upcoming games. That's who this school and this program is. So this meeting, devoid of a human resources presence, only demonstrates to me that they were trying to sweep the details of this latest Michigan scandal under the rug, because that's how they handle things there. It's disgusting. It's a program of, by, and for cheaters. They barely got punished for cheating, literally cheating, stealing signs. He got a slap on the wrist for recruitment violations. And now you have not just his off the field issues leading to arrest, but violating school policy. And they did everything they could to protect it and insulate it, to the detriment of the kids that they were recruiting. They didn't announce this until after signing day. So all of these kids were misled about what they were agreeing to. The school and school officials and the program knew this was coming. People were openly tweeting about it online, down to the granular details. It was such a widespread rumor in Michigan and in the Michigan community. They knew about it, and then they lied to these kids, and they're already starting to see recruits leave now. So I think all of those kids need to get out. The program is tarnished yet again. That's who it is and who it always will be.
I knew when you took a deep breath and said, well, that you were on one. You were getting ready to go. Just wind him up, wind him up. You said everything and still not enough. I watched the documentary on the sign stealer, Untold, I think it was. I was stunned. This guy had disguise and everything. This was incredible. And yet you're right. Coach Moore, the allegations, the worst kept secret, as the booster and the agent said. This is about a lack of institutional control. And spare me for people who say, oh, yeah, well, Sharon and Jordan, the kids who signed, they could just leave. Well, guess what? A lot of other programs are kind of built and they did their little rosters already. And I'm not saying they won't have a place to go. If you're a good football player, you're going to have a place to go. But is it going to be like if you would have chosen someplace else in the first place? Probably not. Probably not. Disgusting. And I don't think for a second, see, I was kind of teasing you a little bit when I said, oh, and then they had to pay the fine, $20 million. That's a lot. And he didn't get fired for that. They don't care nothing about this staffer, the stalking. This is my opinion. Big Blue does not give a damn about this woman and these allegations. Jordan's right. You see how easy it is to convince me. I wasn't even thinking about this. It was just so gross. Once we showed the first picture, I said, you remind me of somebody, a real meathead. Thank goodness I got away from him. Okay. I know the type. But you're right. They did this to keep on keeping on. And remember, Jordan, you're so right about that sign stealer thing. It wasn't just a scandal. They grabbed back the brass ring. They won like almost, I think, never before. Michigan was on an incredible streak because they lied and they cheated. And this was not some, oh, I've made a sophisticated charts and schemes. My stepfather, may he rest, used to do that with the lottery, but he never won. He swore he could just track the numbers and he could win. Love you, Pop, but that's what you did. I listened, but I didn't believe it. This guy won because he cheated and tried to pretend he was just a statistical genius. So this is who they are until they tell us otherwise. I'll give you the last word, Jordan, since I know you have more to say.
Oh, I could go on about this for hours. When I first heard he was fired, I was jubilant. Of course, there's like an element of sadness because you want that woman to be safe. This is the woman he cheated on his wife with, and he's a father of 4 kids. Now their lives are all upended because of his selfishness, his ego, his hubris. But that's the kind of behavior that Michigan celebrates and incubates.
And that's going to be the last word. Nobody could say it. I mean, it was like you wrote an article. You were reading a script, but that was just all off the top, right? Just off
It's
the cuff.
from the
You
heart. It is
teleprompter?
purely from the heart.
Right. And it speaks to what went on there. Bravo. I can't wait to see the comments. All right, let's get to this. When I'm done with somebody, I'm done. I'm out of there. I'm not going to like call you, and I don't need closure. I have deemed you dispensable. You've done something that not just unforgivable, but just that I'm just done. I move on in my life. I have great things going on, even when I don't. Marjorie Taylor Greene is perhaps cut from a different cloth. She gonna burn the whole damn thing down, baby. Just give her a match. Don't forget the lighter fluid. Plenty of fuel. She's slamming Trump on the economy and trying to get Mike Johnson ousted. Aren't you leaving like it might be about a month? President Trump thinks the economy is doing fantastic. Politico released a recent interview with the president. Watch.
Pretty good.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home. And I wonder what grade you would give
A
your
plus.
economy. A plus.
Yeah, A plus, 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 plus.
Well, it's interesting.
Right there, you invoke that article that they try to get Mike Pence to invoke because he is not well. That's all you need. How long was that clip? What was it, about 10 seconds? It might have been less. You take the clip, and I'm sure if, we're not, well, we are activists around here. Can we provide the clip to the impeachment committee if they ask for it? I think we can, right? We'll do that here, TYT. And that's what you do. Maybe it's not impeachment. Maybe it's just invoking the he's unwell, whatever that clause is. But give him the clip, and we're done with this thing, okay? Because I don't think he was kidding. People can't buy food. They don't have health care, and they're about to have less health care than they had before. A plus, 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 plus. So MTG decided, I'm the one to call him out for this. Watch MTG on Trump.
What grade would you give the president?
I think it's hard for a lot of people to take. Look, electric bills have gone up. Everyone's bills have either stayed the same or going higher. Grocery prices have not gone down. Everybody suffered from inflation that happened during the Biden administration. And I think the president needs to be aware that he's a billionaire, president of the United States, and you can't gaslight people and tell them that their bills are affordable. And you can't tell them that the economy is an A plus, plus, plus. You just can't do that. And I think it's insulting to people's intelligence.
But you can do it. If you're crazy, if you're unwell, you can do it. And that's what he's doing. And there's no one, not even the egghead guy, Miller, who's going to say, let's pivot. No one's saying let's pivot. Lutnick, none of them. Just along for the ride. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene out of Georgia slammed President Donald Trump on Wednesday for giving the economy a grade of A plus, 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 plus. A plus, he said, when asked what grade he would give the economy. Yeah, A plus, 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 plus. He also claimed that prices are coming down substantially. Can somebody tell me the clause? Jordan, do you know the clause that they should have? Is it the 22nd Amendment? What is it when the president is not well? Okay. He's got his finger on the button. He's signing all kinds of executive orders. He accused the last guy of weekend at Bernie's. And look at him. We got a problem, folks.
Yeah.
That view doesn't square with how Americans feel. Jordan, did you say something?
Oh, no, it's the 25th Amendment.
Oh, my fault. I don't know what the 22nd is. I probably should know, and somebody's going to call me out. But the 25th Amendment. Get him out of there. It's the one that says you're not well, and so we have to invoke it, right, and remove you, right? That's what I'm not saying hurt him. Just let's get him out of there and get him some help, or put him in a place where they can tend to his needs and change his bedding, but not stay where he is, not in the people's house. 36% of Americans approve of his handling of the issue, just 36%. That's according to a Fox News poll last month. So they probably juiced it a little, and it's still only 36%. Meanwhile, nearly half of Americans say Trump's policies have personally hurt them. Let's remind you, if we can, Trump and Greene, they've been on the outs since the Congresswoman broke with the president on several issues, including the Epstein files, H-1B visas, tariffs too. In response, Trump withdrew his endorsement of Greene in next year's midterms. Greene subsequently announced she's resigning from Congress January 1. Well, in January. She's got time to make trouble before she gets out of there, a few more weeks. I actually am starting to feel very sorry for President Trump, she told CBS. It's actually a very poor reflection on him that he chooses to speak about me that way. She also warned that Trump's rhetoric could imperil Republicans going forward. He always continues to speak about women like this, and that's something that women all over the country pay attention to, Greene added. I think the Republican Party needs to take a hard look at it, because the Republican Party has a very difficult time with women voting for them. She's not as wacky as people think, huh? She's done some pretty wacky things, and she's been pretty ugly at times, even recently, okay? It'll come to me. Well, she ran up in David Hogg's face. His only crime was he lived through a school shooting. She did a lot of things, space lasers, but she may not be as wacky as you think. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican out of Georgia, reportedly testing support for a last-ditch effort to remove House Speaker Mike Johnson, even though she has barely weeks left in office. Use every moment. I mean, your own taxpayers are paying you, so work until the end, okay? I think that's honorable. Greene has been quietly sounding out colleagues about backing a motion to vacate the chair. Multiple anonymous sources familiar with her efforts told MS Now. Under new House rules, 9 Republicans would be needed to force such a vote, threshold designed to prevent a repeat of the Kevin McCarthy implosion, paralyzed the chamber 2 years ago. Marjorie is approaching members to get to 9 who will oust the speaker, a source said. And if we don't get to work on codifying Trump's agenda, anything can happen. Greene publicly denied the report and slammed MS Now journalists who approached her about the reports, insisting it was, quote, not true, that she was organizing against Johnson. I'm not interested in participating in your story, which means it's absolutely true. Okay. She's doing it. She's just not ready to take credit for it yet. She wants to get to 9, perhaps first. Look, she's a complicated woman, and perhaps people like me are hypocrites, because she's done a lot of nasty things, including chasing AOC. Remember, she chased her in the office and all of this stuff. The metal detectors after January 6th. She did a lot of stuff. And now I support her lighting a flame, just taking a match to everything on her way out. And maybe that makes me not a nice person who deserves, if you believe in this, coal in my stocking. I'm fine with that. I don't get much for holidays anyway. What say you about her efforts and the rest? I guess, will she even be successful, do you think?
There are a couple things here. One, to me, this reflects her comments about grocery prices, inflation, the cost of living. That demonstrates this point that progressives have been trying to hammer for a long time, that class-based messaging unites all of us. Because this is somebody who is ardently Republican, even though she's trying to now fashion herself as like an independent free thinker on her way out to set herself up for her next career move. I don't buy it. If people want to, that's their choice. But what she does recognize is hey, everybody feels this. This isn't a partisan issue. And it's bad now. It was bad before. It's okay to talk about. But that also reflects the constraints when your party is in power. The economy is suddenly great when your party takes over. If it's bad, if any element of it is bad, it's because of your predecessor. That's bogus. So what you're seeing is the limits of the political debate and what members of Congress can actually talk about holistically. It's bound by this bifurcated system. Now, on the Mike Johnson thing, I hope she burns it all down on the way out. I hope so. And also what we're hearing more and more is he doesn't have enough support in his caucus in the House to hold on to his speaker's gavel. So I hope, because she has nothing to lose, I hope she initiates that process and we see them go through the internal drama of having to select a new speaker. I really, really hope that happens.
Me too. I think it's delicious. I think it's necessary. I hope she burns everything down figuratively. Hell, do a burn book like the movie with Regina George and the Mean Girls. I hope there's a burn book because these are cowards. One thing you can say about Marjorie Taylor Greene and all the trouble she has pitched her giddy up to and really started over her short-lived but high-profile public service. She will stand up and say it. She may not want to say this ouster of Johnson to camera yet, but she goes hard. And now it has to be this firecracker CrossFit training Georgia woman on her way out that has to do the heavy lifting. Boy, these people are cowards. I just think they're cowards. Get you a burn book. Let me see. I had some matches around here. I'm happy to send them to her. But I think she's good. I think she's got it covered. This is Indisputable. Doc has the day off. I'm Sharon Reed. Jordan Uhl is here. We look for your comments and a lot more stories coming up next.
Hey, Andrew, what's up?
Hey, Cenk, you ready to make the switch?
Yeah, I guess.
I promise it's easy, universal, basic, and you get income.
Yeah, you keep saying that. But you sure I'm gonna have coverage?
Of course you will. You think I would have bad service? I'm Andrew Yang. Of course I have good service.
All right, let's try it. But I'm so bad at tech. So, wait. Should I do this thing of the hashtag business? Andrew, you're still on, right?
Yep.
Oh, I see it. No, wait, I don't see. Oh, yeah, I do see it. Here we go.
I actually did not realize that you'd be searching in real time, but I love it.
How much do people actually normally say?
Yeah, the average American is going to save between $500 and $1,000 a year on Noble.
Yeah, no. So you know what I'm going to do, Andrew? Are you ready to become a Noble member? The two buttons are do it and go back. There's no going back. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Here we go, Noble Mobile.
Oh my gosh, I just called you and are you now on Noble and not Verizon?
Why didn't you tell me it was going to be super easy?
I know, man. Now you just stay away from your phone and watch the money roll in.
I can do that. Here you go, phone, yeah.
What the f? Cenk, you still there?
Andrew? Oh, well, at least I got Noble Mobile.
It was really just one take. The whole thing is wild.
It's in my shoe. It's in my shoes.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. This is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to big pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT, TYT.
The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Tank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
The people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
Welcome back to Indisputable with the great Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off. I'm Sharon Reed, and Jordan Uhl is here as our special guest co-host today. Did you have like an adrenaline rush when we did the Michigan story, the cheating, the scandal, Moore, the coach fired? I mean, I just felt like this rush from you. Like it, honestly, if you were the other team, that would be the greatest, probably the greatest pregame speech ever.
Yeah, I mean, it tapped something within me. I was ready to go. I've also been just telling anybody who will listen about this week as this has unfolded, because I hate that school. I hate that program. So it couldn't happen to a worse university.
Well, I hope you'll do us a favor and stay hydrated, because you probably are a bit dehydrated after that one, and we want you to keep the fluids down because there's more people to tell. I'm sure you're going to have more conversations over the weekend. Okay, let's get to some of your comments. Our beautiful TYT family, TYT members first. Teo 1790 says, this is probably why businesses don't allow you to date your coworkers, to prevent possible drama like this story. Yeah, referring to the slain officer, Officer Rivera, Chicago Police Department, killed by her partner, someone that she was involved with for a time romantically, and someone who had a lot of issues. Yet somehow was allowed to stay on the force long enough to kill and then injure somebody else. Go figure. Guam will capsize dragon says, amen. I would have been fired for that at every job I've ever had. Yeah. Jordan made the point that what is it about this blue thing, this cop thing, that you just don't want to get rid of them? Even when there's like huge liability. Like, let's say you don't have a heart, but just like the public, the money, everything, the accountability for having a a nincompoop like this, a derelict like this on the force. It's just very strange. Very, very strange. YouTube, Shade Dragon says, how messed up do you have to be to actually get suspended in 4 years? Yes, you got to be pretty messed up. I bet you there's 2 columns. All the infractions are over here. And then in this side, all the accommodations, all the commendations. And this is probably blank. He was just a headache. Here's your migraine. Serve it up. People who have a history of domestic abuse should not be allowed to own firearms. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, Shade Dragon goes on to say. I couldn't agree more. That it's a privilege once you violate somebody else like that. The firearms ownership, I think, moves from a right to a privilege that you have lost. Give you one more and then we'll get you another story and we'll get more comments in a little bit. Twitch. Let's go to Twitch. Chicago PD, Octo Squiddy says, they're telling on themselves. Yeah, they are. It's not going to bring Officer Rivera back. Didn't even call for help. Didn't even call in the shooting. Was he too paralyzed? Or is there more to it? That's a good point. Look, if you don't check some of these people, and unfortunately, in this case, we're talking about men and women. We're talking about blue. If you don't check these people, it's just going to escalate. It's like a drug dealer or an addict. You're either going to stop if you're a dealer, or you're going to get caught and be adjudicated, or you're going to die, right? Jail or death, okay? Or if you're a drug addict, you're either going to get yourself together, get clean, or the same thing, right? And those are 2 very different, perhaps people, some one and the same. But my point is, if you don't do something to get it together, get them in check, round them up, say, hey, this is not how we're going to live. It's just going to get worse and blow out of proportion. It's the same thing with this next group. You're going to hear the stinger in a minute in the theme music. They continue to multiply. And they don't really pause for the season. I don't know if you believe, and it doesn't matter. No matter your creed, color, religion, they're going to be around. You're going to encounter them. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Taking a picture of my license plate because he thinks I'm doing something bad in his neighborhood.
Okay.
I'm just out here working. This guy comes out of nowhere saying, what am I doing in his neighborhood? What a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's not funny anymore. And was he carrying a rake? Male Karen harasses a landscaper on the job. Get a life. Help edge the property. Don't attack people. Rake leaves. Don't attack people. According to video posted, this occurred in Redondo Beach, a wealthy area near Los Angeles. The poster, who is Latino, wrote, racially profiled for the first time in my life sucks, but it happens. You bet it does. It happens when despicable, bored male Karens like this want to weaponize their whiteness. Like this guy. He's weaponizing his whiteness and carrying a rake and a cell phone. His family doesn't want him inside, so he's out on the street harassing people. Well, Sharon, you don't know him. I know him. Figuratively. And I can tell you, his wife yelled at him probably 6 or 7 minutes earlier to get the hell outside. You're on my last nerves, Barry. I don't know why I called him Barry. Perhaps because I had one of those in my life. Got rid of him too. This is a sad commentary on too much of, not 100%, but too much of what America has become, Jordan. Which is more stupid? The rake him holding it and the cell phone, the smirk on his face. I mean, we could go on and on.
It's sad because not only does he have to deal with people like this who just suspect them of doing something wrong, whatever that could be, despite clearly working, he's also, especially in the Los Angeles area, has to worry about federal agents racially profiling him. We have seen time and time and time again, people have been assaulted, abused, detained just because of their race or ethnicity. So if I was in this guy's position, I'd be, of course, furious, but just constantly looking over my shoulder.
Sure.
And now it's not even somebody in a mask with a badge and a gun. It's just a guy with a rake. Like, let people live their lives across the board. It's just a system that's compounding of racial profiling, suspicion without cause, harassment, intimidation. He's working. Leave him alone. Why don't you? What are you doing that you're so free that you're raking leaves in the middle of the day? I don't know. Go get a hobby or something.
Yeah. And you don't doubt that his partner, wife, whatever, told him to get the hell out of the house because he's driving her crazy and the kids. I can tell you that's what happened. I don't mean to have this clairvoyance, but I can't help it. I know that he even gets on his own family's, his immediate family's nerves, because this is who this guy is. And it's the part for me where you said, it's not even that, it used to be that you tell your kids or people you love, just don't do anything to bring on attention and, so you don't get in trouble, right? Especially people of color. Now, working hard, doing a good job, minding your business, not even being angry when someone racially profiles you. Still not enough. Spare me. He can get picked up and held by ICE for months. We've seen it and reported on it just because of white privilege weaponized. Now, this isn't good either. A school teacher on leave after giving students THC edibles. What happened to just learning and a syllabus? What are we doing here? I'll tell you. Here are the allegations. New York. Back in April, Buffalo Public Schools teacher placed on paid administrative leave after two students at the P79 William J. Gabriar's School of Excellence were inadvertently given THC edibles, according to school officials and a police report obtained by ABC 7 News. In a statement, district said the teacher accidentally gave the students edible gummies, mistaking them for regular candy. Stony Patch. It looks like the candies I like, but mine don't make me high. According to a Buffalo police report, the teacher picked up what appeared to be a package of Sour Patch Kids and unknowingly offered it to two students during a swim class. One of the students later reported feeling sick. Police say the packaging looked similar to real candy, but a small label on the package indicated it contained 500 milligrams of THC. 7 News spoke with the family of one of the students who consumed the gummies. 11-year-old J.R. Richardson said he was scared when it happened. I was like the scaredest kid in the world. And I didn't want to take anything from no one again, he said. His parents, Tia Lee, Melvin Miles, are now fighting for justice. We look for our children to be protected going to school, not something like this to happen. It's so sad. And we don't want it to happen to no other kids, Eek said. I'll say. Melvin Miles asked, we had a lot of questions and concerns. Where did it come from? That was our main thing. How did he get a hold of these edibles? Miles added his son was sick when this happened and his heart was racing. He was sent to the hospital for an evaluation. My goodness, scary. In an exclusive statement to Indisputable, Melvin Miles told us, the teacher admitted he found the bag of edibles and gave it to my son. He was handcuffed by the school security and the Board of Education suspended him with pay, and the police did not find him in no criminal action somehow. Exclusive statement Melvin Miles, the father, telling to indisputable. Great work by the team. Both students were taken to a hospital for evaluation. Their parents, along with Buffalo police, were notified immediately. Teacher told officers he did not know the gummies were infused with THC, but admitted to offering them to the students. The district placed the teacher on paid administrative leave the same day and said it was taking the situation, quote, extremely seriously. District is also reminding students that they may only eat snacks during lunch and are not permitted to share for health and safety reasons. Well, that's a good reminder, except they got it from their teacher, right? However, Miles has alleged that since the incident, his son has been treated like a criminal. You see, up until now, we may be able to walk a path of accidents happen. This is terrible. How do we keep it from happening? But it's always somebody has to take it too far. Somebody has to do the wrong thing. And that's the allegation. Just last week, he was illegally and thoroughly searched by 2 different teachers, not a security guard, twice in one day and the following day. They searched his locker and he came home crying hysterically. We were advised to file a report at the police station, and again, no action has been taken since. He made it to the honor roll this year, and they're treating him like a criminal. We want justice for Jair. Goes on to say, we would like for the neglect, child endangerment, harassment, lack of communication. Buffalo Police Department and Buffalo school administrations are not taking this matter seriously. Jair, suffering from social anxiety, sleep insomnia. We want him and his 2 siblings out of school as soon as possible. We need help with covering proper medical treatment, transportation to get them to and from appointments, school, etc. None of that sounds unreasonable to me. Not a bit. In regards to these allegations, we've called the principal of the school. They offered no comment, directed us to the communications department for the district. We've emailed the district requesting a statement and are currently awaiting a response. And I would like to tell the team, you are going to continue to be waiting for a response on this. Great work. Great work. You covered the bases. You said, hey, is there something you want to say here? Because these are the allegations, and you're waiting on a response. Meantime, the family has started a GoFundMe. We'll show you that. We're set to interview another exclusive, Melvin Miles, about this ordeal next week. And you see, here's the rub with this one. Just dastardly, just terrible circumstance. Can't imagine if that's my child. I'm disgusted, and it's not my child. Okay? But instead of, I can lead a horse to water, I think it is, but I can't force him to drink. Okay. Instead of somebody at the district level doing the right thing here, right? This happened. We know it happened. He had to be evaluated at the hospital. It's a terrible situation. Are you going to have to pay money to this family and this child? Probably. Do they deserve it? Absolutely. But now you want to try to find something on the kid. Make the honor roll student the problem here, and perhaps the family is the problem too. So perhaps the payout's less, or maybe you can intimidate them into leaving the school, or not filing a lawsuit, or not having settlement negotiations or something. This is the way my mind works, because this is what's probably happening. This is probably what's happening here. And it's really stinky, because you're taking a kid, a boy, who was poisoned. Okay, let's be clear what happened. Unknowingly, yes, but the result's the same. The child was poisoned. You don't know what the reaction could have been. It could have been far worse than just a heart racing, and that's scary enough. And so now you want to make matters worse. Instead of the school community wrapping your arms around this child and this family for as long as it takes for them to feel safer than they do today, you want to go on offense. You want to be ugly because a teacher unknowingly didn't follow the rules. Was the teacher supposed to give candy, Sour Patch, or THC to children? Probably not. So miss me with your, we want to remind students not to share candies and snacks and only eat at snack time. It's not what happened. Their teacher, someone he trusted, said, would you like these? and now you're treating the kid and the family like a criminal. We look forward to Mr. Miles, and we appreciate the exclusive reporting today from the team, and we appreciate Mr. Miles coming back next week to tell us about this, because it is sick behavior. The reaction to it, again, things happen. It's the reaction for me. This is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Much more to come.
The most popular online news show.
Favorite news platform by far. Oh, it's not even close.
Been on YouTube for 20 years. The Young Turks.
The Young Turks.
TYT probably needs no introduction.
A true lefty, Cenk Uygur.
Cenk Uygur.
Cenk, so great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, David.
Fan of your work for a long time, man.
Anna Kasparian is one of the most followed and influential progressive women online.
I love Anna.
Your presence has been essential for me to really grow.
Do all of you know the Young Turks? This is why what Young Turks are doing is so important.
I've watched you for many years. You are insightful. I thank you for that.
I was going to introduce myself, but it sounds like you guys might know it.
Ring the bell on YouTube today. You know what it does? It actually rings the bell at my house. It's super annoying, but if you do it, it just keeps on ringing. Oh, plus you can find out when the show is live and whenever we have new clips. Ring the bell. Oh no, not again.
How would I look walking the dog on the White House lawn? Would that be?
You know how much it costs you to start an account on TYT.com? Nothing. It's free. So you just go and register in about 2.5 seconds. Then you can chat with us during the show. We read those comments the most often. You chat with each other. Tons of people have become friends there. We're super interactive. We do a lot of polls for our paying members. We sometimes do polls that drive the direction of the show. So that's amazing. There's no other show that's this interactive. And our home base for that is TYT.com. Come join us right now.
When you were growing up, what did you want to be?
I think I was starting to think I don't want to do one thing, and I did live up to that.
Well, mission accomplished then, because Dave was a geologist.
Yeah.
And now he's, helped found the Young Turks. Even within TYT, you've done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So if you want to do different things, you nailed it. All right, last story to end on is a Dave story. Whenever there was something like obvious, glaring, he would go up and ask them about it. Like, it'd be like a giant church, right? And somebody's standing in front of it. The usual Dave go, pull up right in front of him. Be like, hey, do you know where there's a church around here? And they're like, right here. It's right here.
Practical jokes. Spice up life a little.
We've been around for about 20 years and we have about 20 billion views. Am I proud of that? Hell yeah, I am. We put out 20 billion messages in a bottle. Have we helped to move now 2 generations, millennials and Gen Z, to become progressive? Yes, those numbers are real. We moved generations. Were we the only ones? Of course not. But we have been the largest online news show for now decades. Cool news, shoptyt.com now has books. There's a whole bunch of books there. You're gonna be shocked to find out that they're largely progressive. Of course! Ryan Grimm's book, We've Got People, is there. It's a fantastic story from Jesse Jackson to Bernie Sanders to AOC that explains the progressive movement probably better than any book I've ever read. Speaking of awesome books, my dad's got a book out called The Original Young Turk, where he goes from the poorest olive farmer you ever met in your life to living them.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc is taking just a little time off. He's, for whatever reason, trusted me to sit in the chair, keep it a little warm. And then he's brought in a heavyweight, Jordan Uhl, who is our special guest co-host today, to keep me honest, and react, give us the commentary we desperately need. You can't just go off on tangent, Sharon. You have to sometimes have, the kind of discussion that the story demands. And so that's why, Jordan, you're here. We're honored to have you with us. Let's get to Noble Mobile because it's a real treat. These are our partners. And we begin with this directive. Stop letting your unused data pad the pockets of billionaires. It's not what we're about. With Noble Mobile, you take control over your data. Noble Mobile is the only cell phone plan that pays you to use your phone less. Get unlimited data for just $50 a month. And here's the real game changer, folks. Cash back you get for the unused data, your data. Less data you use each month, the more cash back you get. Stop letting big wireless rip you off, make a fortune from your unused data. Switch to Noble today. All you have to do is visit tyt.com/switch. It's that easy. Hell, I do it now. Because honestly, I thought about what they're doing is big wireless. Not only did they not give us our money back for the unused data, it's like I'm buying it again from them. My data. Now, why should that continue? It's ours. And it can be, again, Noble Mobile. All right, let's get to some more of your comments. TYT member BS 1954. I wonder what the BS stands for. Jordan, as a former Buckeye, I rejoice with you. Yeah,
Good.
They're everywhere. These Buckeye fans. Look, you're either over here with blue, or you're over here with the Ohio State. But there's like, I don't even think it's like two brothers. Well, they can't speak anymore if one's over here and one's there. I was good friends with Desmond Howard, who's a Cleveland, Ohio native, Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah, he's a great guy. And I remember asking him about it when you chose Michigan, and you're like, I mean, this was not good. This wasn't good. And he said, no, it wasn't good. I had to get the hell out of there. He got the hell out of there because people were very unhappy. Great smile, Desmond. Great guy. But what did you do that for? Why? And now look at your school. Look at your school. Okay, YouTube, DB Hawk 3, thank you very much for your contribution. Times are tough, and we appreciate you all for supporting the family. That teacher has got to go for doing that. Stay safe. Yeah, unintentional. I think it's good to note that, somebody's not so sinister. They did this on purpose, DB Hawk 3, but rules are there and protocols for a reason. And this could have been horribly, could have been even worse. So I think you're right. We got to go, unfortunately. Who stole the U9-1101? Just found it, stole it, brought it. Who randomly finds stuff and has other people try it first? Weird-ish. Okay, you're right. So that part of the story didn't quite add up. Who finds old candy, opens it? So maybe we do have to revisit everything about this story. Okay, I'll give you one more. THC teacher, Neon Death 07 says not something you can mistake one from the other. I'm not going to argue with you guys because now you're bringing up some great points, and I think you got to dig deeper. But I will tell you that school districts and police departments too often have this thing where they work so closely together that I don't know if you can get a great investigation in some places, especially if it's a private school. You got to take matters into your own hand then. Oh, I know. Okay, let's get to this next story because it's another teacher who's in the middle of something here. Well, first we'll get to this one. How dumb do you have to be to not realize that as the president of the United States, you can't pardon someone for a state crime? You're gonna be Trump-like. It's a symbolic thing. It's not going to work. It's a symbolic thing. But he did it anyway, because I guess he likes symbolism. Donald Trump tries to pardon a woman who meddled with voting machines Last night, Donald Trump issued this pardon via Truth Social. Democrats have been relentless in their targeting of Tina Peters, a patriot who simply wanted to make sure that our elections were fair and honest. Today, I am granting Tina a full pardon. Well, what's the catch? Well, I told you. He's absolutely no legal authority to pardon this woman who was convicted on state charges. Duh. Okay. Duh. We could end the story with just duh. D-U-H. This is Tina Peters of Mesa County, Colorado. She is a Trump supporter, former clerk in Mesa County. She was found guilty of tampering with voting machines after the 2020 election, which he did not win. Oh, Miss Peters. And this is without makeup. And I only mention that because there's this permanent makeup trend going around. And I think we told you about it here, where people who, it's not exclusive to MAGA, but it's becoming a thing. Okay. Palm Beach County down in Florida, where they do this thing with their lips. I can't quite do it. I've got full lips. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that when they put up the mugshot, let's see, this is where I go off on these tangents that don't really matter to the story. Let's get back to the story. At a trial last year, Peters was convicted of helping a non-public employee gain access to the county's voting machines. Upon receiving access, the individual took county passwords and proprietary information about the machines, which were made by Dominion Voting Systems. Trump and his allies have alleged that the company helped rig the 2020 election against him. It's not true. She was indicted in 2022 for allowing an unauthorized person, later discovered to be affiliated with the My Pillow guy founder. That guy again. I don't know why anyone would be friends with him. He's just going to get in trouble. And fellow election conspiracy monger Mike Lindell to access and tamper with the county election equipment, breaking into the voting machines under her supervision, copying data that was later leaked online. How does the My Pillow guy convince you? I mean, he probably did convince a lot of people to buy his pillows, but he's a whack job. He's a wackadoodle-doo. And you let him lead you right to prison time. She was convicted of 7 felonies, including attempting to influence a public servant, criminal impersonation, first-degree official misconduct, violation of duty, and failure to comply with the statutory requirements of her role as clerk. And then she was sentenced to 9 years in prison. That was in October 2024. Peters was sentenced to 9 years. And then on Thursday night, Trump announced a pardon for Peters on Truth Social. The president only has the power to issue pardons and commutations for federal crimes. Article 2 of the Constitution clearly states that. Tina Peters was convicted by a jury of her peers for state crimes in a state court, said Colorado's Secretary of State, Gina Griswold. Trump has no constitutional authority to pardon her. His assault is not just on our democracy, but on states' rights and the American Constitution. Tuesday, federal magistrate judge denied Peters' petition to get out of prison. In doing so, he noted a typo in the motion. That's just petty. We included that, but I mean, it's there. It's there. Listen, Jordan, she strikes me as a pick-me, but never mind that. She was led astray by the pillow guy and a bunch of liars from Trump world, and now she's paying the price for it. However, she's been defiant to the very end. I don't feel sorry for Ms. Peters. She is defiant even now, still claiming that the election was rigged, and the only person who tried to rig something was her and the pillow guy. What do we make of this? Number one question I want to ask you, do you think Trump even understands that he could not pardon her for these state crimes?
No, I don't. I don't think he knows, but even if he did know, I don't think he would care, because this is what he wants. And I worry that at some point they will try to expand the president's ability and power here.
Yeah.
I don't know what that might look like, but They are continuing. This goes back to, at the very least, Dick Cheney, but this is something Republicans have wanted for a while, which is this unitary executive theory where the president is all powerful. I mean, that's why we have such robust presences at, King's marches, because people see where it's going and what he ultimately wants. And he continues to try to test the waters. So I don't think he understands the limits of his power. I think he only operates in what he wants it to be. But for this person, she's the cheater here. She's the one who tried to rig the election. They tried to defraud voters across the board. Dozens of people in Trump's inner circle and the extended spheres, they wanted to rig the outcome of the election. And it's no different than what they are trying, in some places unsuccessfully, with this mid-decade partisan gerrymandering, because they know they're going to lose in midterms. So they want to rig the election in advance by redrawing districts and eliminate Democratic seats so it helps them keep control of the House. Thankfully, that effort in Indiana failed, but they're going to keep trying little things like this to disenfranchise more and more Americans, and so they can retain their grasp on power.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I'm particularly chilled by the part of your commentary where you're suggesting that they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. Okay. And by the way, they have the Supreme Court backing them up and doing dumb things like temporarily allowing this in Texas. Okay. Because that's fair. So, sure, who knows? They might expand his power here, but they'll stop at nothing, including radicalizing people like Miss Peters, who are happy to do the bidding. It's not about her. It's not about feeling sorry for one Karen on a mission who had some power and abused it, because what she did was disenfranchise, as Jordan eloquently laid out for us, all these other people who stood in line, who voted here in Atlanta, not allowed to give out bottled water. They did their part, one person, one vote, and she and the pillow guy tried to steal it. So they'll stop at nothing. Cautionary last statement. Let's get to the Black Army veteran jailed by ICE for, we must have done something very terrible here. What does it say? Not using a turn signal, not a typo. This is who we've become, folks. Godfrey Wade arrived in the U.S. 50 years ago from Jamaica at the age of 15 with his mother, moving to New York with a green card that granted him permanent residency. He enlisted in the U.S. Army a few years later, spending 8 years in the service, where he was primarily stationed in Germany before he received an honorable discharge. He then began a civilian life in Georgia while raising a family, working as a fashion designer, master tailor, tennis coach, and chef over the years while staying out of trouble. But in September, he was pulled over in Conyers, Georgia, for failing to use a turn signal, which was when police discovered he was driving without a license and arrested him. He was then handed over to ICE for deportation, and he's been in federal custody ever since. His family fighting to keep him here. So much for your service. So much for your service. At this time, it's not clear why he did not have a valid driver's license, but as a permanent resident with a green card, he is legally allowed to obtain and possess a driver's license. And while he never obtained his citizenship, his fiancée said they were in the process of doing that before he was arrested. We had an attorney, but it's a very expensive endeavor. The cost is astronomical. Trump's making more expensive, folks. Watkins told local media, still, he did make the effort. We did a lot of things to make sure this day would not come, and yet here we are. He's been incarcerated in overcrowded ICE detention centers since the arrest, a 3-month ordeal where he was forced to sleep on a makeshift bed on the ground for the first 12 days, according to 11 Alive News. In a telephone interview with local media from the Stewart Detention Center in Stewart County, Georgia, Wade said there are only 2 working urinals for an entire pod of 80 people. Disgusting. We don't have any bunk space, he told the news station. We're given what we call boats, and those are placed on the floor with a 2-inch mat. There's sewage water flowing on the ground, he said. Imagine if this report was about animals in a shelter existing like this. People would be up in arms. And there are people up in arms about this. Human beings. This is sick. 11 Alive News also reported that it had obtained records of the Office of Detention Oversight, a unit within U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement that oversees the federal detention centers, which revealed 12 deficiencies within the Stewart Detention Center related to health and safety, food service, phone access, use of force, and more. The agency also noted violations of the required 12-to-1 detainee to toilet ratio, which in and of itself is disgusting. Adding that the private for-profit company that runs the detention center, Core Civic, has ignored various inquiries by reporters seeking comment. Why would they? Why would they comment? Who gonna check me, boo? While the money rolls in and people are treated worse than animals. 2022, when Joe Biden was president, his administration directed ICE agents to take into consideration an immigrant's military service. Trump administration rescinded that policy. I thought you cared about the veterans. Issuing a memo in April stating that active duty members of the military may be granted protections from deportation, but not for former members of the military. An honorable discharge does not necessarily prevent an alien with U.S. military service from being subject to immigration enforcement action, the new memo states. Despite the 3-month ordeal, Wade still believes in the United States. If I didn't believe in this country, it's still great. I wouldn't want to stay here, he told local media. I shed my blood for this country. I can live with myself if I just have a day in court so somebody can hear my story. You deserve that, Mr. Wade. Family has created a GoFundMe fundraiser to raise money for legal fees, a link of which you can find the description of this segment. At press time, about $25,500, $25,428 raised. This is outrageous, Jordan, of course. The disproportion. I'm not saying that it's okay to drive without a license. I wish Mr. Wade, if that's the case, if the allegation is true, had obtained one. But let's not get it twisted. Whether it was jaywalking or failure to use a turn signal, there's some local forces who take great glee in turning over this service veteran to ICE and the conditions. Look, that facility should be closed immediately. Okay, immediately. It is not fit for humans. And the fact that it's private is not lost on me. That's sicko behavior. This should not be a for-profit thing. But I'll let you talk.
Yeah, well, I mean, Core Civic has been bragging to its shareholders since Trump took over about how much money they're making off of this effort. So they love this and they love keeping costs low because it's more profit for them. So why would they install new bathrooms? Why would they treat people with dignity? Why would they provide necessary and adequate accommodations? That's all costs for them. They're trying to make as much money as possible so their shareholders are happy and it increases their stock price. That's all they care about. And it's just human beings in the grinder here. But on this specific case, this isn't the only veteran that we've seen deported. We saw this week Kristi Noem humiliated after lying in Congress and saying veterans have not been deported when Representative Seth Magaziner holds up an iPad with a Zoom call going with Say June Park, a Purple Heart recipient who was deported to Korea after serving this country and taking multiple bullets for this country. So it doesn't matter even if you have a Purple Heart, they will still deport you. He hadn't been back to Korea since he was 7 years old, and now he was sent there. So it's across the board. They're doing this over and over and over again. And I want to point out a vast majority, around 70% of the people currently in detention in immigration facilities have no criminal record. So they're not just going after the worst of the worst or violent criminals or gang members. They're going after all immigrants. They're going after people based on their skin color and their ethnicity, as we have seen time and time again. Sometimes U.S. citizens get wrapped up in this because it's so haphazard, it's so brutal, violence first, ask questions later. That innocent people are being caught up in this is absolutely disgusting.
A turn signal. and now you're sleeping with sewage. And there's 100, excuse me, how dare I misstate it? There's 80 people for 2 urinals. Get it right, Sharon. Okay. As I said, this is sicko stuff, and you're absolutely right. Did you see how Christina ran out of that hearing? She didn't even, her people like spoon fed her the document, and she was too much in glam, I guess, to read it. Disgrace. That's the correct word for her. Oh, I have to go now. I'll get back to you. Will you? And you're right. There's been errors and American citizens wrapped up in this. Oh, that brings us to an update on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He will remain free from ICE custody, only because a judge had to make sure of it, because these people weren't going to follow things. After months of detainment, Kilmar Abrego Garcia is free from federal custody. Listen to his statement.
Y ahora estoy aquí de pie frente a ustedes y la lucha seguirá. Yo seguiré de pie, no le bajaré la cabeza a nadie. Siempre estaré de pie sobre todas las injusticias que ha hecho este gobierno.
I stand here today with my head held up high, and I will continue to fight and stand firm against all of the injustices this government has done upon me.
Hell of a statement, and hell of bravery, too, given everything he's been through. Federal judge blocked the government from redetaining Kilmar Abrego Garcia at a scheduled Immigration and Customs Enforcement check-in on Friday morning. Judge had to do this because the king and his minions were going to probably swoop him back into custody as they've done before, just for a check-in. Intervention came after the same judge ruled Thursday that the Trump administration lacked the legal authority to continue holding Abrego in an immigration detention center. Let's remind you, after Abrego's return to the U.S., the Trump administration detained him and has threatened to send him to multiple African countries and Costa Rica. And we know what he thinks about these countries, right? Respondents serially notified Abrego while he sat in ICE custody of his expulsion to Uganda, then Eswatini, and Ghana. But none of these countries were ever viable options, and at least 2 had not even been asked to take Abrego before respondents claimed supposed removal to each. Abrego detained during a similar scheduled check-in back in August. Ahead of the check-in, Abrego addressed a crowd of supporters outside the courthouse in Spanish. I stand before you as a free man. I want you to remember me this way, with my head held up high, Abrego said. I stand here today with my head held up high, and I will continue to fight and stand firm against all the injustices this government has done upon me. Regardless of this administration, Abrego said, I believe this is a country of laws, and I believe that this injustice will come to an end. Currently fighting new deportation efforts following his wrongful removal to El Salvador in March and subsequent return to the U.S. over the summer. In her Thursday ruling, U.S. District Judge Paula Zinnes, Maryland, ordered that Abrego be released from the Moshannon Valley Processing Center in Pennsylvania, citing a lack of a final order of removal for him. His removal cannot be considered reasonably foreseeable, imminent, or consistent with due process, Zinnes wrote in a memo. She continued, since Abrego Garcia's wrongful detention in El Salvador, he has been re-detained again without lawful authority. Friday, she granted a request by his attorneys, which blocks the Trump administration from re-detaining Abrego until she can conduct a hearing on the temporary restraining order his attorneys had filed. Zinnes also reminded the parties of her order from months ago, that says the government must give Abrego 72 hours of written notice if they intend to deport him to another country. So again, he was released 24 hours ago. As of our press time, the Department of Homeland Security criticized the order. This is naked judicial activism by an Obama-appointed judge, said Tricia McLaughlin, DHS Assistant Secretary. This order lacks any valid legal basis, and we will continue to fight this tooth and nail in the court. So again, the targeting, Jordan, this I'll stop at nothing. The king said so, so it is. And a judge having to use almost everything in her toolbox, her legal toolbox, to say, you better not do this again. And yet they're still saying, we are going to do it. We're going to keep on doing it.
Yeah. The cruelty is the point here. I mean, I can't get over the fact that they want to, or use even the threat of sending these people to countries they have no connection to whatsoever. I mean, Kilmar Abrego Garcia is originally from El Salvador, and you're threatening to send him to Africa? Why, if not to be deliberately cruel? That's what they're doing. We talked about the conditions in our last story that some of these detainees have to live in. I mean, this is somebody who was denied due process for months, used as an example by the Trump administration. They tried to illegally deport him despite a judge ruling in 2019 that he could stay here because of a reasonable fear of returning to El Salvador. He was fleeing gang violence. That's why he came here. That's why a lot of Salvadorians come here. And we can't also lose sight of the fact that the U.S. helped create that violence they are seeking to flee. Through decades of destabilization in Latin and South America, we have created the influx of migrants into this country that we are now suddenly throwing our hands up and be like, why'd they all come here? Because of us, because of our government. The least we can do is say, all right, you want to escape that violence that we created? Sure, here you go. Just abide by the laws. And he did. And they tried to lie about him. They tried to claim he was a member of MS-13. He wasn't. And we all remember Trump's stupid and embarrassing and humiliating interview with ABC News, where he kept insisting the tattoos on his fingers were MS-13, not recognizing that that was something somebody had done in Photoshop. The guy is a moron, and it's ineptitude from the top down.
Yeah. The only thing worse than a moron is when the cruel is the icing. Okay. If he was just a moron, perhaps we could do some things to mitigate his stupidity. But he's not. He's a moron who's in power, and he's incredibly, exceptionally cruel. And as Jordan said, that's the point. And here we have a poster child for that cruelty who is standing up. With the judge's help, he's able to address a crowd of supporters and saying, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to fight to the bitter end. Jordan, thank you so much. As I said, you kind of keep us moving along when I get these little hiccups and I can't help it. So we appreciate it. Tell people where they can find your good work.
Sure. Well, it's always a pleasure to do the show with you. You could check me out on Instagram. Just search my name. I have a new video every day.
Yeah. Put a couple up about Big Blue, will you? Michigan, and they're cheating. I bet you that'll go viral. Okay. And remember to hydrate. This is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Thanks, Doc. And thanks to all of you for continuing to support the family. We love you, TYT family. Much more to come. We hope to see you again.